Good afternoon, all of you. We are going to resume the YouTube videos again. So for some time, the YouTube video streamings had stopped. So we're going to resume it again with a slight difference. This time, what's going to happen is that the homework is going to be in the form of a PDF, which will be attached to the YouTube video. So, like in the description box below, you will find that there is a Google Drive link to a PDF. That PDF is your homework PDF. So essentially what we will be doing is that I'll be telling you certain concepts which will help you to solve the homework, and after the session is over you can solve the homework, and since the homework is in the form of MCQ, you can just send it to my WhatsApp whenever it is done. You don't have to send the working, you can just send the answers. So let's start off, and today's session will be on motion. The PDF which is in the the link to which is in the description box below, it is from motion. So essentially we will just recap these two terms, uniform motion and uniform acceleration. Okay, we'll just have a quick recap of these two terms. One is uniform motion and the other is uniform acceleration. Now uniform motion literally means uniform velocity. If you say that the motion is uniform, that means the velocity is uniform. Uniform motion essentially means uniform velocity, and of course uniform acceleration. So there are two types of motion broadly speaking in this whole chapter. It's either uniform velocity or it is uniform acceleration, right? So if it is uniform velocity, so if the graph is uniform velocity, then the displacement versus time graph, it will be a straight line passing through the origin, right? If it is uniform velocity, the displacement time graph will be a straight line passing through the origin. And you can see that here I have drawn two graphs, one is A and one is B. So you can see that the velocity represents okay, so basically the displacement time graph, if it is uniform velocity, the displacement time graph, I have drawn two graphs A and B. So the graph which has a greater slope will represent a higher velocity. So you can see that there are two graphs A and B. So out of these two graphs A and B, the graph A has got a greater slope. So therefore graph A will represent a greater velocity. On the other hand, uniform velocity graph for velocity time graph will be a horizontal straight line because velocity is not changing, and acceleration time graph will be completely along the time axis because acceleration is 0. Okay, now we come to the second one, that is uniform acceleration. Okay, now we move on to acceleration time graph. Now you must remember one thing, that when you have uniform velocity, the displacement is proportional to time, right? But when you have uniform acceleration, the displacement is proportional to square of time. That is the difference, right? So uniform velocity means displacement is directly proportional to time, and uniform acceleration means displacement is proportional to square of time. And by the way, this displacement is proportional to square of time. This particular graph is a curve called a parabola. Now a parabola may be opening upwards, so that represents acceleration. A parabola may open downwards like this, that represents retardation. So this graph is a parabola which is opening up, that is called acceleration. This graph is a parabola opening down, that is called retardation. Correspondingly, the velocity time graph, it is a straight line passing through the origin. So this represents uniform acceleration. Velocity time graph, downward sloping straight line. This is representing retardation. So upward sloping velocity time graph is acceleration. Downward sloping velocity time graph is retardation. Then acceleration versus time graph. So this graph is a horizontal straight line. So this is acceleration, and you can see here the graph is going in the negative side. So this is retardation. So acceleration, retardation. So this is the topic, what are the different types of graphs represented by uniform velocity. So displacement time graph, velocity time graph, acceleration time graph. And what are the different types of graphs represented by uniform acceleration. So displacement time graph for acceleration, for retardation, velocity time graph for acceleration, for retardation, acceleration time graph for acceleration and for retardation. So this is the topic of today's session, and based on this I have given a link in the description box below. It contains 10 MCQs homework. You don't have to solve it, you just have to send your answers to me. I'll tell you if they are right or wrong. That's it, right? And this is how we will be having sessions from now onwards. That's all. I'll end the session. Thank you and bye all.